Well, hey there, Tom here. Today I'm going to show you how to play a little bit of Chet Atkins' Chinatown, My Chinatown. We're going to jump right in. This is in standard tuning. So first thing you want to do is go to the 12th fret here, and go ahead and put your index finger down on the 12th fret, and you're going to cover the E and the B string like this. And then I have a thumb pick, right, so you might want to use that. But we're going to use our index and our middle finger of our right hand to play these two notes here. Now we're going to play it like this. Index and middle together, and then middle all by itself. Okay? And this stays put the whole time. So here's what it sounds like. Alright, so here's with it repeated. Okay, now let's go to the next part. Chet's going to play the 14th fret. Just go ahead, easiest thing is just move your index finger up here to the 14th fret and lay it flat, like I've got it, across the 14th fret on the E and the B string, and play that. One time. Now we're going to go back down to the 12th fret and play that. So the whole first measure, we just did it, is... You could also pick it with your thumb pick and your index finger. There's lots of ways to do this. Here's what that would look like with the right hand. So start with your thumb and index, 12th fret by itself. Keep holding this down on the left hand. And then again, 12th fret together, index by itself, up to the 14th fret together, thumb and index on the right hand, and back down to the 12th fret, thumb and index. So once again, just a quick run through that. Cool. Now one other way you could play it, there's too many ways to play this. You could use your index finger and do what's called a rasguiado, okay? It's a fancy word just for using your nail. You could go like, just like you're strumming with a flat pick, but instead of with a flat pick, you're doing it with your index finger. And you're doing it like this. Just the first finger doing the strumming. Okay. Let's go into the second measure. And if you have any questions, feel free to rewind the video. That's the beauty of YouTube. You can use the playback at the slower speed at like 75% or 50%. You can always rewind. So let's go to the second measure. We're going to go down to the 9th fret, play these two together. We're going to bar it with the left hand. Same technique. I'm going to do thumb and index for the right hand, okay? I'm going to play it once. And then the 9th fret all by itself. So 9th fret on the both strings, E and B, and then the 9th fret all by itself on the E string. Just listen to this. Okay, now here's the next part. We repeat that. Right? And then now let's go down to the 12th fret again. This is the beat 3 of the second measure. I finish up the measure by going back down to 9th fret. So here's the whole second measure. 9, 9, 9, 9, 12, 12. So the first two measures, put them together. 14, 12, 9, 9, 9, 9, 12. Okay, let's go on to the third measure. Go down to the 7th fret, same move with the left hand. Lay that bar down, that index flat, across the E and the B string. A little E and the B string, ready? Same thing with the right hand together. E string all by itself on the 7th fret. Together again, E string all by itself. Move up to the 9th fret with the left hand. These are picking together. And back down to the 7th fret. Together. So here's the first three measures, all one after the other. Okay, now you know what comes next? Just a little chord here. 3 notes. The 3 notes are open B, 7th fret of G, and 6th fret of D. So you can see that there. So I'm using my index and my middle. Sounds like this. Okay, it's like an E7 chord. If you're into the notes, B, D, G sharp. So the 5th, the flat 7, and the major 3rd. If you're not sure about that, don't worry. Just kind of add that in case you're interested. Alright, let's do the actual beginning of the song after this intro now. We're going to come down to the 2nd fret, put our index finger down here, and we're going to actually slide this up to the 5th fret like this. Alright, so go ahead, try that. It's just going to go index, slide. Watch my thumb. My thumb's going to move, let's see if you can see it here, with the hand. That's really important that your thumb actually moves parallel like to your index finger. It doesn't do this. These don't go in different directions, they move together, and that creates one solid unit. When you study classical guitar, it's something you talk about, is keeping that left hand in position so you don't lose the integrity of the position. So enough about the technique, I guess, right? But just so you know, so you go up here, okay? Now, the next part, we're going to actually play a chord here on the 5th fret. So let's say the notes. 5th fret of E, 6th of G, 7th fret of D. So that's beat 2 of the measure. So here's what the first measure sounds like. So to slide to the 5th fret, I like to pick it again. And then the chord. See my index finger? It's laying flat. It's a bar. So I can get this 5th fret note and the 5th fret of E at the same time. Now, I think Chet uses his thumb a lot of the time. I'm kind of from a classical guitar background, so I like to use the bars. I don't really like the thumb on the fretboard. That's just me. Especially if you're playing a wider nut like a classical guitar, it's harder to do it with a thicker neck. So I like to use the bar. Okay, now third beat of this, we're going to play an open E. Then we're going to play the 7th fret of high E. Use my pinky there, 7th fret of high E. And then the final beat is 6 and 7 together. 6 of the G, 7th of the D string. So here's that measure. Starting from the slide on the 2nd, up to the 5th, flatten the bar, open E, 7th fret of high E, 6 and 7. Let me play it again without talking. Now, to get Chet's sound, we can't just play those as open notes without the right hand palm mute on the bass string. So it sounds much different. To do this, you're going to kind of take your hand, kind of make it like that, and then put it down here so you're just covering up, see if you can see, just covering up like kind of the bottom 3 bass strings right on the bridge, like where the white part, if you have an acoustic guitar, if it's an electric, near the saddles. So you get this kind of sound with the open string. Muted, you don't want to get this sound completely, nothing really. Got to go further back, you got to find the sweet spot. So play around, experiment with that. If you go too far back, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to ring. So when you play that measure again, this is the first measure with a chord starting with a slide. You're going to get Chet's sound. So let me do it again. Just repeating. But I'm not muting the high E string or the B string or the G string, just the bottom 3, D, A, and low E, okay? And that's going to help the melody kind of rise to the top, and the bass notes are going to be quieter. It's going to naturally help it kind of sound like 2 people are playing guitar because of the change in the tone color. Down here, the palm mute gives you the change in the tone color. Let's go to the next measure now. So we're going to go to the 4th fret, bar the index finger, and then play these together on the E and the B. I use my thumb, thumb pick, and I use my middle finger. Okay. You could also use your ring finger, but I use my middle here, both on the 4th fret. Hold that down, keep it there. Now play your 5th fret of G and your 6th fret of D together on beat 2. So you have that sort of thing. 4 and 4, 5 and 6. Let me do that again. Palm muting the low E and palm muting the D. Not palm muting the 4th fret of E and not palm muting the 5th fret. It takes practice, especially to get the right balance in the volume. Okay, let's go on the next part. Next note is just open E. I'm picking my left hand up so you can see no hand on the fretboard right now. And then I'm going to play open low E, okay? And then 5th fret of G and 6th fret of D. So all 4 beats of that measure go. It's making a G sharp augmented chord if you're curious what that is. So let's go on to the next measure. Again, rewind the video if you're not sure. You can see the hand position here. And see the right hand. And what's happening there. I'm using mostly these 3 fingers, index, middle, and ring, not the pinky. Some people anchor the pinky. I do not anchor, just again, I'm more from the classical guitar background where you have more of a floating right hand, except for the fact that you are palm muting to keep your right hand anchored, you know, to a degree, and that helps me. So experiment with what feels good for you. Let's go to the next measure. This is going to start here on the 7th fret of B. You're going to play that along with the open A string, palm muted again. So you get the open A and the 7th fret of B together. The next beat goes, you're going to go on the 4th fret of E, high E, 6th fret of G, and 7th fret of D. And play those all together like this. Beautiful, right? So you're going to go, beat 1 is this, open and 7. Beat 2 is that 4, 6, 7. And I'm palm muting the 7th fret of D there. The other two are let to ring out normally. Beat 3 of this measure is open E together. So both open E's is what I mean, low E and the high E, palm mute the low E, let the high E ring out free. Final beat of the measure is 6 and 7 together. Same concept with the palm muting. Again, just it's kind of implied that the lowest note is palm muted unless I say otherwise from this point on. So the lowest note meaning the note that is the lowest in pitch, you know, in sound. So here's that whole measure, real slow. So open and 7, 4, 6, 7, open together, and then 6 and 7 together. Let me do it up to tempo. When you're practicing this stuff, just take one measure, try to repeat it until you're just completely, you've played it out, like you're sick of it, you know, until it's just muscle memory for you. So how many times does that mean? I don't know, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 times. I'm just saying, play it a lot, okay? Different tempos too, really important, and with the metronome. Okay, next part, open A on the, we're gonna play open A all by itself on beat 1. Next part, beat 2 of the measure, 6 and 7 together. So that sounds like this, open A. Okay, next beat, beat 3, open E. Final beat of the measure, 6 and 7. So this measure is real simple. It's just open A, 6 and 7 on the G and the, see it's the G and the D right here. The other fingers, index and pinky, are just standing by. So it goes open A, 6 and 7. Just leave this here. Don't even pick it up. Like, don't waste energy by removing the fingers, because you're just going to put them back down again in another beat. Alright, now we're finally, I know we're going really detailed here. Let's go to the next measure. You're going to see a pattern emerge. This next measure is actually, we've done this exact collection of notes in the same order, but again, it's open A and 7, and then now it's 6 and 7 together, and then Chet syncopates on the offbeat, the end of 2, if you're counting. He goes to this 4th fret of high E, so it sounds like, let me play it again. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and. Okay, and now beat 3 goes open E all by itself with a thumb, low E, then 6 and 7 together. So that whole measure sounds like this. Do it a couple more times. Slower. Okay, and make sure you don't go until you feel like you have one measure down. Like, just keep repeating small chunks, small bits. Isolate parts that are tough. Even if you just isolate just one beat worth, just train in the right hand to do what it needs to do. And be consistent. Do not try to change the fingers on the right hand. Once you have something practiced into your muscle memory, do not try to change it if you're intending to perform it. If you're just exploring, trying to come up with new combinations, that's fine. But if you're intending to practice this in order to share with other people to perform it, once you get the fingerings, you know, make sure they're good at first, but then commit to them. All right, now we're ready to do the next measure. And after a while, I'm going to go back to the beginning. Don't worry, play it all from the start. After this measure, I'll do that. So next measure starts with open A and high E together. On the next beat, beat 2, we go 6th fret of G and 7th fret of D. And then we have our pinky. I like to use my pinky a lot to build strength with it. It'll really pay dividends later. And now you're going to put that on the 7th fret of B. And you're going to syncopate that on the off beat, so it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and. Okay. Right after that, you're going to go open E, low E, and then 6 and 7. So same principle of keeping the left hand planted, anchored on, don't pick it up if you don't need to. Here's that whole measure. Open together, open A and E, 6 and 7. 7th fret of B now, low E, 6 and 7 on the D and the G string together. Here it is some more. Don't be like me and try to rush it. You gotta get it comfortable to slow tempo. So let me go back and play it from the beginning now. And I feel like this is, getting to be kind of, I don't want to be too long today. I want to keep this short, so I'll do another lesson with more of this tune. But here's from the beginning, really slow. Seven, 9, 7, 3-note chord. Fret, 7th fret pinky, 2 opens together, that's everything we just spent the time to break down and discuss. So I want you to just remember that you can rewind the video, you can pause it, you can play it quicker, faster, by using a speed control kind of in the upper corner of YouTube. There's settings there if you're not familiar. And yeah, that's going to be it for today. I do want to remind you guys, if you kind of want more lessons, feel free to, you can suggest other songs you want to listen to. Mostly I'm going to focus on music by Chet Atkins and other thumb pickers and finger pickers and solo finger style material. Oh, and don't forget, it really does help if you do subscribe to my channel. And I actually just created, well, I'm not going to share it yet, but I have some things in the works, and I do want you just to kind of stay tuned and feel free to view the links below. I do have a Patreon page. I'm going to start to share material there, and more lessons where I'm going really in detail, note by note. I don't see many other people doing this note by note stuff, so I think this is good if you really want to see how it's done up close. You don't want to necessarily read a tab. I know people are going to ask me, can you give me tabs? Well, my answer to that is sometimes it's better to learn this music by using the traditional senses like sound, listening, watching, tactile, feeling. Tabs are great, but I do encourage you to try this approach. This is coming from someone, myself, who has a degree in music and reads music and notation and has tons of tab books, but there's a limit to it. You have to really spend the time and internalize the music. And I'm hoping that this conversational format, just me and you, going through the notes, showing you how I would do it, showing you the fingerings, and also spending the time to not rush ahead. Like what I just showed you, that might take weeks to learn. Like it's not going to take hours, okay? So especially if you're brand new to the style. So don't rush, go slow, and have fun. Thanks.